ball game tapping in.
Yeah, he said he was. Who Postman City Hood Click. Let's go.
About humanity, putting truth in these lines while they busy feeding lies. When you got that tunnel vision, gotta open up your eyes. Wake up and go to sleep. Man, I'm praying all times. And to my guys, ain't no other side. This for my brothers, I'ma pray we all shine. Lock the door. Go ahead, lock the door. Lock the door. Go ahead, lock the door. Yeah, you already know.
Depending on the lessons, some people eat, some people learn. But the game is gonna send you big. Lock the door.
Lock the door. Shout out to the Mailroom Nation and the Mailroom Goons. I am Professor Melly Mail, the Hood Postman. Be sure to click that notification bell, like, subscribe, and share. Drop a comment down below so when the dope content hit, it'll feel like it's the first and the 15th. Welcome to the Mailroom. Come in, take a look at your mind. Is that what's in your heart? Yo, anywhere in the world to get a couple of lies, but you come right here to get the truth, man. I got the Rome background up. That's my old Elko in the background. I didn't mean to put that, but we got to work with what we got to work with, man. Shout out to the Mailroom Nation, everybody that's joined us. Let me get to the comments.
Can't go wrong with El Camino.
Can't go wrong with it. Shout out to RDL. Shout out to man Marlena Williams, Postmaster General. Everybody's on deck once again. We here, we with it, man. Man, remember before they had handguns, they had hand guys. Y'all got a man up out there. Quit playing. What's going on, man?
Put them guns down, man. Put them hands up, man.
That's it, man. What's been going on, big man?
Ain't nothing but, oh man, same old shit, you know. Shit, you know me, man. Working, staying out the way. That's all that is, you know. Staying solid, staying in tune. You know.
So me and you was talking earlier, man, and you made a statement, man. You say Melly Mel, he's just a good friend, but he ain't no gangster. Let's get into that, Dale, because I thought that was a profound statement, man, you made right there.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's like I was saying, you know, like, you know, you got some dudes they're just good friends. You know what I'm saying? They good, solid friends with let me elaborate a little bit on that. Like say,
okay,
you know, you're down on your luck, you need something, you know, your friend gonna be there for you. You know what I'm saying? You need a ear to listen to, your friend's gonna be there. You know, friend gonna do friend things. But when it comes to some gangster shit, he ain't no gangster. You know, don't let it get it twisted. And get you caught up in the twist, thinking that he a gangster on some gangster shit, and you fuck around and lose yours out here.
And sometimes, Big Dale, this play into the scenario too, because you know the streets ain't created for everybody. That's why they made the sidewalk a path for those who choose to walk a different way, their own way, right? But the problem with that, man, we got. There's so many guys that look the part, talk the part, act the part, but they no longer play the part. Why is they consistently looking like they belong to this, but you know, the game itself don't outgrow them. You know, it's beyond them.
Right.
So when they get caught up in a scenario, then he's a buster or he's this, he's that. That comes out, you know what I mean? But all the time, he had far long been taken out of the equation. he just was looking like he belonged there, but he really didn't. Do you see that as a problem as well?
Oh yeah, it's like they playing dress up Crip or blood or what may have you. You know, they got to put their attire on, they clothes on, and they have to put that mentality on. You know what I mean? It ain't in them. They have to get dressed with it. You know what I'm saying? They can't be themselves around people that know them. So they try to be somebody they're not around people that they don't know. You know, I mean, that could be a gift and a curse though at the same time though, because you are here portraying to be something, and then something happened, and they're looking for you to participate, and then you throw your gun and run.
And this plays heavy too, because a lot of times when you go to these funerals, these 60, these 70 on down to 50-year-olds revert back. They'll put on the gang attire and put on their gang face and show up with their blue rags, their red rags, and and they live in really a different life, but they'll show up to these funerals, and then if somebody happened to come through and see them, then that itself becomes problematic now, because they can identify with them. Oh, he's still with it, or he still belongs, or she's still down with it. And then when they come at them like that, now they feel like, oh, well, I ain't this or that. No, but you dressed the part, you looked the part, and you talked the part, but at the same time, you're not really about that life no more.
Nah. Nope. It's just playing games, you know. Say playing dress up crap, dress up blood and all that shit, man. Just be a regular. Just be who you are.
Is that something? Maybe that's part of the trauma bonding too, because when they attend these large funerals or whatever, or repasses, it becomes a trauma bond, because you get dudes that you ain't seen in 10 years, 15 years, and all this different stuff, and ladies you ain't seen, and everybody will show up to this one particular person's funeral, whatever the circumstance behind that, but they all come in looking like they just ready to go back to gangbanging.
Mm-hmm.
When they they friendly now. They're just friends. They're friendly conversation, friendly lifestyle. They don't, they got grandchildren. But then when something occurs in the neighborhoods, it's just like, I was talking yesterday, Big Deb, Lake Paris, right? And I'm gonna put that in this perspective too. The guys went out there for the I guess some type of motorcycle event. I don't necessarily participate in motorcycle events, because all those dudes are from somewhere. And when everybody's from somewhere, and when somebody get mad, the patch on the jacket, the front of the jacket, or the back of the jacket, or on the side of them, none of that means anything no more. They go back to being wherever their respective neighborhoods or tribes or communities are. They begin to act out of that head space. And when that happens, it's usually it becomes chaotic, because now you got people running all over the place. You got police running up talking about serve and protect, when we actually know there's no serve and protect. You got all these different things, and then people will draw their own conclusions about it. But it's just crazy to me. But I'm saying, this is what I'm telling you, Big Dale. We're more in our own way than anything.
Right. And we get in our way a lot. You know what I'm saying? We can't get out of our own way. In some cases, I don't even deal with none of that type of stuff, though. I don't like being around a bunch of motherfuckers who I don't know anyway. Then a bunch of dudes, different personalities and stuff like that. Ain't no telling who's who and what's what, and shit go down. And now you got, like you say, people reverting back to where they from, and go all bad. I don't got a motorcycle, so I'm not going to be sitting there watching motherfuckers with motorcycle. Hey, there's my people right there. My blood cousin right there.
What's up, Big Dale? What's happening?
Just to bring you up to speed, we're in there talking about where he's just a good friend, but he ain't no gangster. And the conversation reverts back to when we see just a large amount of people. Say for instance, you one of your homeboys passed. So for some reason, we get a lot of homeboys and homegirls that show up to the funeral procession or the repast looking like they back in the 70s. They look the part, act the part, talk the part, but actually they just friendly now. Their life is friendly, they're friendly, everything about them is friendly. But then when people from opposing sides see them, they're gonna make an assessment or they're gonna draw a conclusion, and then when that conclusion don't fit the outcome that this person would like, then it becomes problematic. And I don't know why do our people, I think it's part of trauma bonding, because when we go to these funerals, it become a trauma bond because you see a lot of people that's there for 15, 20, 10 years, whatever, how many times that's lapsed there. And then the personality don't change. You understand? They're no longer that front line. They're no longer that fire. They no longer that spark plug or that time. That's no longer in them. But they still looking the part. And I see that as problematic. I see that as problematic amongst not just, you know, any of us, but outside of us, we got homeboys, homegirls, and that they from whether they're from San Diego, whether they're from Linwood, whether they're from Watts, Compton, so on and so forth. It's happening across the board, Bob. Do you have any thoughts about what's your thoughts on that?
Well, let me say what's up to the goons first. The mailroom goons, much
Man,
respect.
shout out to the mailroom goons.
And this is my take on that. You know what I'm saying? Some people, it's hard for a leopard to change his or her spots. You dig what I'm saying? And people, people are comfortable in what they know. In reference to, when we talked about that earlier today, man, it was hard for me. I would, normally I can come up with a lot of thoughts and suggestions about certain situations, but it's hard to say why, sometimes we still get stuck in that mindset. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all for,
That's true.
because you got to talk to each individual. I can ask Dev, well, hey, Dev, why you still blah, 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 blah. Only he knows why he does what he do. Why we do it as a collective, all I can see is that, you know what I'm saying, there's comfortability in some of the things that we know. I remember you said something a few months ago. I was just watching, you didn't even know I was on, but you said that niggas is comfortable in poverty as long as they're comfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's a good question, and it's a hell of a topic. Because I see the homeboys down here, 58, 59, 60 years old. You know what I'm saying? They still got a red, one of them little red, the Chuck Taylors, the ones that come on the keychain.
Uh-huh.
A little, and got it in their right pocket. And I'm like, this nigga, you 63 years old. What's wrong with you? You know what I mean? It's a mindset. It's something that it's something that's just been bred in us. When you get around the homies, y'all ways, y'all key ways. When you get around the homie, you might say, hey, what's up, cuz? Because you're comfortable in that. You did what I'm saying. You comfortable in that particular circle, in that particular realm with your homies. I end up, because my feet is all the way out. You did what I'm saying. I still, people tell me all the time, hey, what's up, Spice? Gangster Mike and all these old type of things. I think it's because I still wear it on my sleeve. But I'm just not with all the bullshit and activities and all that other shit that come with it. You know what I mean? So, it's it's that old saying, it's not on me, it's in me. You know what I mean? So it's just one of those particular situations. That's what I think about it, Melly.
So here's a deeper question to both you guys. So, Ballgame, you've been known to do investment properties. Big Deb, he does investments his own way and things where he do in order to keep his household together, right? We all do certain things, right, to make our household run, right? And if we go into the financial world or we go into a negotiation, if I'm going to Navy Federal, USA Bank, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, well, whatever institution of finance, right? When I walk in there, do I say, hey, blood, or hey, cuz I'm here to do a loan? Do that even come up in the conversation?
Well, not at all. I mean, at least for some of us that know how to conduct themselves, because see, I can turn it on and I can turn it off. You know what I'm saying?
But my point
And
being is that in the world of finance, in the world of gaining upward mobility, a lot of stuff that we use locally or community wise don't necessarily reflect what the world is doing. So if it's that minute, why do we continue in it? Because again, I believe it's a link to trauma bonding. That's just my belief. You guys don't have to accept that. But let me start with you, Dale. What you think about it?
I mean, you still got people out here that's still trying to find themselves. They're still lost in their identity. They don't know who they are. So every day that they wake up, they have to pick up a book, read a script, and then carry that script out in their everyday life. You know
Uh-huh.
what I'm saying? They just got to turn into somebody. You know, one day they this way, the next day they that. They don't even know who they are. You
that's a
know what I
good
mean?
point.
Because if you in your 50s and 40s and 60s and you still trying to be impressionable in the wrong way out here, then you're already lost in the sauce. You know,
That's a good
I don't
point.
even talk like I am. I'm 50 years old. I don't have a 17-year-old conversation with my younger homies or family members or dudes that I know. We don't have those conversations now. Reminiscing is a different. You know, we might reminisce on some things, laugh, and talk about some stuff in the past, but we're not talking about something that we was talking about 30 years ago. You know, having them type of conversations. You know what I mean? So you got people out here, they just lost. They don't know who they are. And until you know who you are as a man, you're gonna forever be living in the fantasy world. You're gonna be living a lie. And your friends and your homies can see that. We can see through that. First 10 minutes of a conversation, you already know. You already read the book already. See this dude out here, he out here playing.
Is there something wrong with living a square life or just living a normal life to where you pay taxes, you pay
Nah.
life insurance, pay bills and
Yeah,
pay mortgages
hell
and
no.
and take care of business, take
Nah.
care of your household? Is there something wrong with that or is I'm tripping?
Nah.
Well,
Ain't
not
nothing wrong with being normal.
and ain't nothing wrong with being, yeah, and I second that with what Dev is saying. But this is the thing, no, because I see three brothers on this screen right now that's doing it every day. You dig what I'm saying? So no, another thing, Melly, it's not you're not tripping, but I'm gonna tell you something right now. This is one thing that we have to be privy of as a people. You
Uh-huh.
still got you got 82 to 81 to 83% of black households across the nation that have two-parent households that's living a square in a normal life,
Yeah.
and you got a lot of brothers that who have came home from prison and now they're claiming to be L7 squares because they switched up the way that they think. They switching up the way that they move. You know what I'm saying? They're there for their sons and their daughters now. They're in monogamous relationships and doing the right thing. You know what I'm saying? So, when you say trauma bonding, you know what I'm saying? Do we specifically kind of generalize that to the gang banging community or just to our just to black people, just
Black
as a
people.
general?
That's black people in general.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm gonna look that up, trauma bonding, because I've never heard that. And I think I know where you're going with it, but I've never heard that term.
Yeah, because say for instance, one of your homeboys get killed. Now, we ain't seen this homeboy in 15, 20 years. But for some reason, that day we all tend to bond. We're
Hmm.
bonding under trauma
I
because
got
the
you. Yeah.
traumatic experience have occurred that called us to come together. Now we back bonding together. Now we can reminisce again. We can go back down memory lane talking about. I remember when he ran up and did and he did this and did that. Man, Ball, I remember, man, you was out, man, you crazy, Ball. You get those type of conversations.
And I and like Dev said, there's some conversations that I just won't engage in.
No,
You
it's
know what
not
I
worth it.
mean? And I try to
I
stay
don't call anybody cuz. I don't call anybody
right.
outside of that. I rarely even call anybody a ninja.
Right,
It has
right,
to be
right.
something that triggers that, because I know that America created the nigga experience in the events of it, right? America did that, you know. So I don't have to accept it. I don't have to be a part of it. But if people want to refer to one of each other like that, but I think that we need to start, man. We need to start investing more in education and make sure our next generation is more motivated and geared towards becoming architects, engineers, doctors, lawyers. Let's not. Everybody can't be an NBA star. Everybody can't be an NFL star or any athlete. I mean, because we're very athletic people. Those who do it, let them do it. But let's also look at these other areas.
Well, you know what? You know what? That's one of my main talking points when I'm talking to some of these young brothers and sisters about law enforcement. You know, when we was looking at last week when that brother ran over that deputy, you know what I mean, and they had all them vicious ass pieces of pork in that courtroom trying to intimidate that brother. You did what I'm saying? You know, when you looked around that courtroom, all you seen was mayonnaise. You dig what I'm saying? You probably seen one or two brothers and sisters in that courtroom. You know, it goes. You know what I'm saying? I have a nephew that just got drafted. And, you know, he's going to go play for the Raiders, Keyshawn. And I was everybody was praising him, but at the family dinner, I was also praising a couple of my nieces and one of my little cousins who just got accepted into the Air Force. You
Man,
see what I'm saying?
congratulations to those.
Yeah,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying. So
Right.
so just to go back to what you're saying, everybody can't be athletes. You know, we need to show when these young brothers graduate, these young sisters graduate from high school, and they go into a field, let's say accounting. You know, we need to congratulate. We need to make sure that we show the same enthusiasm for their career choices that we do to brothers and sisters who become NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, entertainers, whatever the situation may be. We need to show the same enthusiasm for those people that are going into these square jobs than we do for these people that are going into these more high profile type situations.
You know, one other thing that I like to point out is that hip hop proposed to gang culture, and gang culture accepted the proposal. They're now married.
Right.
So that is also one of the problems, that every kid wants to be a lyricist. Every kid wants to be Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, or Drake, or Lil Wayne, or whatever the person is, or Sexy Red, Tukiana, Nicki Minaj, Megan Stallion, Glorilla. So we creating this other. Is this becoming the ethnic identity to where black people get to show they behind everywhere they go, or dropping, pop, locking, dropping, and because some music come on, all the girls start bending over, looking back at it, and all that stuff. You know, what is that? Where are we going with all that? You know, how's that helpful to us?
Oh, it ain't helpful. I mean, but that's reality though, because even though we got that stuff, we something that we got to deal with. Is that stuff going to happen? You know what I'm saying? The music going to make people move a certain way. Music going to influence some people a certain way. And some people going to adapt to it differently. You know,
Right.
like I ain't never listened to a rap song or anything like far as rap, and that made me want to do something. But I can't say back in the day when NWA hit the scene with, dope man, I knew what that was.
Right.
You know, I knew that he talking about selling. They talking about selling dope. So, did that influence me to go out and sell dope? No, but they was talking about it and I was listening. But I
Right.
never listened to a song that made me want to, do something like, you know, influence me to go out there and do some wrong.
Yeah, I thought one of the songs they did that got me was Always Into Something, man. I used to listen to that all week, over and over,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
over and over and over and over, man. I think we lost the ball game. He back. Let's see.
Hmm.
Uh, okay, ball, we had lost you for a moment. Yeah, we.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we could talk about this proposal. We could talk about this marriage between hip hop and gang culture. But I'm wondering, man, where we gonna be 5 years from now with the way it looks?
Yeah. I just think though us as men, father and grandfathers, we just have to make sure our household and our backyard is cleaned up. You
Real
know what I'm
talk.
saying? Make sure that we teach our own, because if Ballgame can save a couple of his young family members, and you can save a couple of yours, and I can save a couple of mine, that's 10 to 15 people that save. But a lot of people don't think like that, because a lot of parents are friends to their kids. Just like we talking about, he ain't a friend, just a gangster. You got some parents that are just friends to their kids. You know what I'm
Shout out to
saying? They're not
Black
parents.
Warrior Spirit and
You
Monique
know?
and everybody that's in
Yeah.
the
Shout
chat.
out to the
Appreciate
chat.
every last one of you guys. Thank you for joining this positive conversation, necessary conversation. Also, I want to point out, Ball and Big Deb. Now you have to beware of valet parking for those who like the valet park. They got this thing now to where you valet park, and the people that valet parking is going in your glove compartment, getting your address, or going in your navigation system, seeing where you live, and while you out doing what you're doing, they send the crews to your house.
Interesting. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's becoming
Mhm.
a thing now. So
See.
as technology advanced, they find other ways to try to circumvent it and try to utilize it to make the hustle still, but the street hustle, man, there's too many cameras out there. There's too much going on to where, they can pull it up and bring up surveillance and license plate recognition and tracking and facial recognition and all this different stuff. But yeah, that's a thing, So be careful those who like to valet park, because now the people that's valet parking is also, tracking you or giving up your location or sending your information to somebody that's probably, if you're local or whatever, they can get to your place and while you sitting having a great time eating at Ruth Chris or eating at Maestro's or wherever you may be. I don't know. And you having just a blessed day and enjoying, and somebody's at your house ransacking it.
Well, you know what? It's funny. It's funny that you bring that up, because I got pulled over by the Roman soldiers about 4 years ago, and when the punk motherfucker pulled me over, driver's license, registration, blah, I pulled you over for this, right? When I hand him my driver's license, he goes to write down my information, but he goes, "Hey man, on this driver's license, it's a PO box. There's no actual address. I need your actual address." I said, "I don't have to give you my address, pal. You asked for my driver's license. All the information that you need is on that driver's license. That's all the information I'm gonna give you."
Right.
So what I do is, when I go to the DMV and I fill out my information, I always put a PO box. I don't never put my physical address.
That's a good thing. That is a good way yeah.
Good game right
But
there.
do you have your address stored in your navigation? Like, get me home.
You know what? I don't know if I do, but I will double. Now that you're bringing that up, I will double check. But I know where I live at, so I don't know why my address would be in
No,
my
no,
navigation.
no. What I'm saying, you might be somewhere out, way out,
True.
and you really don't know directions back to your house. So you just put your address
Hmm.
in. Because I do it sometimes. If I'm somewhere like way out, if I'm in Yuma, Arizona, somewhere or wherever,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
and I'm not familiar with the
Yeah,
freeways, I'm like, okay, let
right,
me put my address in. Boom.
right. No, well, I haven't had to do that, so I don't think so. But I will double check. But I
Uh-huh.
just, like I said, I just know that uh, when it comes to the DMV, I don't list my personal address.
That's great. That's great. Um, just yesterday or yesterday we all saw Tory Lanez was airlifted out of a prison yard, and it could be any number of reasons. Ball game, Big Deb, that things you don't do in prison. And once again, we coming to a guy. He's just a friend. He ain't a gangster. We're coming back to that. He's just a friend, and he may not know all the politics, all the rules, and he may think that because he's Tory Lanez, he can just do what the heck he want to do.
Well, they said that they said it went down today. They said it went down. It went down in the prison between the essays and the brothers. You know, they saying that was racially sparked. You know what I mean? So, some of the information that I got that it went down in the Pinta. You know, and like I said, the information that one of the homeboys that sent to Hatchby was just basically saying the young brother don't understand the politics of the prison yard and got himself caught up.
Yeah, and I can see, because while he was on these streets, he might have had a pill habit, and that's hypothetical, right? And he get in there, he realized that the Mexicans, they have access, so he figured he can go behind the brothers and deal with them, to get what he want because he got money, and so he don't feel he has to. Because let me tell you something about the Mexicans, right? They don't move without it being sanctioned. Other words, most of what they're doing is coming from a bunch of dudes that's sitting in a cell somewhere they're extreme dope fiends. They're dope fiends, right? And for whatever reason they listen to these guys, but they can't just move on you if it haven't been okay from them or they haven't looked at why they want to move and why they want to do it. They just don't do that. Not like that.
Right.
Not unless you take off on him right there on the spot, and then he has every right to defend himself, right? But for them to bust on you, that has to be a sanction. So I don't know if he was gambling on his butt or he was in there buying drugs. I don't know any of that. But I do know that there are certain things from each group that there's do's and don'ts. And if he didn't fully understand it, because he's a Canadian, Draystar Peters, that's his name, Draystar Peters, aka Tory Lanez. I don't know if he fully understood exactly what he was doing or how it should go, but if he felt like because he's Tory Lanez, the rapper, and he wasn't necessarily being Draystar Peters, then I could see that coming in conflict with how prison works.
Yeah, well, like I said, if the brothers is mad about it, you know what I'm saying. Whoever put in the work, they didn't ask permission. You know what I mean. So, we at least we can assume that. You know what I mean. So, and like I said, I pray for the young brother and I hope that he be all right. They did say that he had a couple of collapsing lungs. That's why they had to get him up out of there. Say the young brother almost died. You know what I mean? And I'm still a little upset about it myself. You know what I mean? But if you're in there, if you're in there buying dope and not paying your debt or whatever it is that you're doing, he could have been in there fucking with a punk. Who knows? And they starting to stab brothers over that nowadays. You know what I'm saying? So, who knows what the situation may be. But like I said, he ain't no gangster. He's just a friend. You know what I mean? So I'm a little upset. I'm a little upset that the brother got hit myself.
Well, Monique said that still knocks, Mill. That beat always into something. Yeah, that was a cold beat. Yeah, you're right, Monique. That still knock. That was my stuff.
NWA.
Deb in the ball game on the Hood Postman show. You brothers, what's up, man? They saying what's up to you, brothers.
Oh, I can't
Salute
see
the
I
chat,
can't see
man.
the chat. I can't see the chat. Tell them I said what's happening.
Man,
Salute to everybody out there, man. I ain't been on in a while.
I haven't either. Where Marlena at?
Oh, she's in there. She's definitely in there.
Yes. You know what I mean? So yeah. So, hey man, you talked to Stan Shepard lately, man. We gotta get Stan on, man.
Man, I haven't talked to Stan in a little bit. Stan been busy podcasting, man.
He has been busy podcasting. See, that's Stan is a friend. Stan will tell you in a minute he ain't no gangster.
Hey, Ball, and Deb, I want to point out one more thing, right, man, with this with the Trump, with Trump, I just want to point this out. He's now accepting South Africans into the United States, bringing them over as refugees. And what he have to understand, they come from apartheid. They're leaving one situation and coming to America. Maybe I don't know. I don't know if and for the sake of black people, guys, listen, man. I know y'all was tired of the Democratic Party and all that. You was frustrated and you decided to vote for Donald Trump. That's fine, okay?
I didn't vote for Donald Trump. Who voted for that motherfucker, man?
A lot of black people did because they felt like the Democratic Party has been deceiving them, and that's not fulfilled their obligation.
Well,
So,
the
but what
Democrats
we're now seeing that we get Donald Trump, who's now eroding, turning back Black history, removing monuments, achievements, sports achievements, and all different things. But at the same time, he's bringing people into this country from an apartheid frame of thinking. So there, I guess we'll have a new group of people called the white African Americans. That's how you're gonna have to categorize them.
They better come over here. They better come over here and wash their mouth, because one of them gonna get fucked up. See?
Yeah, and they also providing them with welfare. They provide them with homes.
But you got to think about it, man. Who is Trump's biggest homeboys right now? They the three richest motherfuckers. It's Elon Musk, Michael Dent, and the other billionaire. I can't think of his name. All three of them are South Africans. You dig what I'm saying? And you guys got to think about something, man, because I've been following this shit, man. This Trump is just signing off on this shit. These are not his ideas. These are not his ideologies.
No,
this is the ideas of his cabinet. Most
Stephen
specifically
Miller,
that punk ass Stephen Miller, that other Michael Katz, and all these motherfuckers. These are the people that's implementing these policies. Trump is just signing off on. You dig what I'm saying? Trump don't give a rat's fat ass about none of this shit.
Yeah, because he was calling on Sleepy Joe, but look like he don't start falling asleep on everything.
Oh man, he's starting to repeat himself. He's starting to go into cognitive decline. You know what I mean? They say, man, and I ain't saying this being spiteful. You dig what I'm saying? But you know, they say that Trump wears a man diaper because he's going through incontinence. He always shitting on himself and pissing on himself. You know what I'm saying? You know, so that last damn. But like I said, these are the things that these are the things that's coming out. You know what I'm saying? They saying that people don't even like to be in the same room or sit real close to Donald Trump because he stink. You know what I'm saying? And if you look at him, I mean, it's I don't know. It's just, these are the things that people are saying. But at the same time, I will say one thing about Trump, though. Trump know how to, that punk motherfucker, he's a master manipulator. He knows how to get his way. And there's a lot of people in the chat right now. There's a couple people in the chat that probably supported Trump as well. You dig what I'm saying? There's just some people that just ain't really speaking on it. My brother and my nephew, my nephew and my brother, man, when I talk to them, we don't even talk politics because them two stupid motherfuckers is Trumpers. You know what I mean? And especially my nephew, the one in Virginia, Bryson, he always talking that, Uncle Mike, you should get on the greatest team, Trump team. You ought to get on the Trump wagon with everybody else. I said, you stupid motherfucker. Who birthed you? Where in the fuck did you come from? You know what I'm saying? These are the things, my brother, man, Trump is a cold gangster. He gonna get these immigrants out of here and all that. I fully support Trump. You know what I'm saying? But motherfucker used to smoke Sherm.
Yeah, make it make sense.
Yeah, nigga, what the fuck is you talking about?
Yeah.
So the shit just don't make no sense to me. I just didn't think. I got a couple of homegirls that's a little upset at me. Normally on my Instagram or my Facebook page, they push the like button, but because I banged on Kamala during the campaign, they don't like me no more. You know, over this politics shit, you can lose some friends. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Even though I penciled her punk ass in, I didn't think she was a good candidate. And I still believe that to this day. Well, she's, and the first thing the two sisters said, well, we rather deal with her, and she's a black woman. We rather deal with her than Trump. Okay, yeah, maybe so. But that still don't make her a good candidate because Trump is a fucked up candidate.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? This election was fucked up from the get-go.
Yeah. It was hard to look at, bro. It was hard.
Right. I made a beer on that note.
Very hard.
You know, so I sit back, I followed, I listen to it, I'll be watching, and I don't just watch CNN, I switch back and forth. I watch Fox News just to see what them stupid motherfuckers are saying. You know what I'm saying? And all the diarrhea that they spew out their mouths, you dig what I'm saying? And their ideas and their way of thinking, you know what I mean? You just ask yourself, like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? You know what I mean? You see what's going on. Trump then came in and he's fucking up everything.
So
You know what I
going back
mean?
to our earlier conversation, Big Deb, he's just a good friend, but he ain't no gangster. How should we even? Can we even have that conversation with our homies?
Well, it depends on who the homie is because all three of us is friends, but I still have to recognize the gangsters in the both of y'all. You see what I'm saying? So it depends on who you're talking to, and it depends on who the friend is.
It's safe to say that you got to know who the person is, individual is, right? Because don't get yourself involved. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's good to have friends though, because everybody ain't a gangster. So it's good to have them type of friends that's just a friend. You know what I'm saying? Like you say, just to call and have a conversation with, or you know what I'm saying, you need some advice, you can call that friend. But when the shit hits the fan, don't be relying on that friend to step out there and be this gangster, this big time gangster. If you fuck around and let you down, or you fuck around and lose your life out here, you're gonna throw the gun and run. That's their motto.
Well, you know what? Let me for real, huh, Deb? But let me interject on that, Deb. Well, I kind of see it. I see it a different way, just through an experience that I had. You know what I'm saying? One of my homeboys, the brother wasn't no gangster. He was really a good friend of mine, and just a real good dude, beautiful family. But we was in a situation where I was with a couple of homeboys who were supposed to be gangsters, and him. You know what I mean? And then when it was time to get down, the two gangsters ran. And he stood there and the homeboy Jeremy stood there and stood tall and got down with me. So, sometimes it depends. These two niggas, and unfortunately, I had to say this, but they was banging up under the auspices of 5'9" Brims. And the niggas ran.
And the square dude stood down with you.
And Jeremy stood right there with me, and me and him chunked him with these motherfuckers. You know what I mean? And got down, and it fucked me up because after the fight, me and him walking back to the car and shit, I think my nose was busted. He got hit in the head with a bottle, but he was like, "Hey, Mike, we got to do that again."
He was excited about that.
I told her, I said, man, I'm gonna take you. You need to sit down somewhere because this seems like you kind of like this shit a little bit too much. I'm mad. I'm mad because my nose is busted. I had on a cold little outfit. I got blood on it. You know what I'm saying? One of my chains got snatched off. You know what I mean? All this shit. I hit a motherfucker the wrong way. The next day, my hand was all swole up. I'm pissed. And then I'm ready to get down with these two niggas who ran. And then I put it out there to the set like these niggas ran.
Wow. Yeah, I just today I signed out with Twitch, right? I'm gonna start streaming to Twitch as well. I'm gonna start streaming on multiple platforms to get more people involved and more people engaged in conversations like we have with this panel, because it's important that we share our ideas, even though we may look at it from different perspectives, but we all want the same. We all want good outcomes for our community, for
Mhm.
our people, you know. And
Right.
and if we don't, at least attempt, try to bring everybody to the table and at least have a conversation about it, we'll never know where it may go, you know. So I think that's
Mhm.
important. I believe that it's important. And I don't, I don't think I necessarily have to dress up to look like like I'm from 1970 Oaks Park businessman crib to achieve that. I could just look just like I am now in my regular attire or truck driving and stuff, and I don't have to look a particular way, but because I know the lifestyle, I've been through it. I know the language. I know the individuals. I know the mindset. I know the attitudes. I know different dudes when they walk around with that fish face. I know, like,
Mhm.
here's a dude that's mentally retarded. Here's a dude that's functional retarded, because we're living in a dumbed down, comatose society, because it's come down to this, Ball and Big Deal. It's a monkey do, monkey see, monkey do mentality, especially when you look at social media and you let most social media dictate your everyday living, and it has become, it's a form of entertainment, don't get me wrong, but it's a lot of misinformation, there's lies, degradation, misogyny, misandry, and outright just slander against our people by our people.
But this is the thing, man. This is the thing. When I look at when I'm on Instagram and I'm sliding, I can be sitting here by myself and I'm just sliding through my phone, looking at Instagram, seeing all the bull crap that's going on Instagram. You know what? When I run across a lot of these videos of black people just acting a fool, sometimes, Melly, we still have to take account. We have to take responsibility for how society looks at us, man. You know what I mean? Because of the shit that we do out there, some of the videos that I see, and just the way that our people act. You understand what I'm saying? Sometimes I just be like, I understand why there's such a fucked up perception of our people. You understand what I'm saying? In some of these societal realms. Because we're the ones that perpetuate the bullshit. We're the
Right,
ones that fueling the fire. You dig what I'm saying?
right.
With our actions,
Yeah.
with the way that we act.
Accountability. We got to have accountability.
Mhm.
Whenever I am out in society, I go out my way to conduct myself like a gentleman at all
Yes,
times.
sir. Yes, sir.
I open doors for women. If there's a woman in the grocery store line and she has less items than I do, I always allow her to go first. If she has 2 or 3 kids, one of the kids is acting up, I know she trying to get out of there. Hey, ma'am, you go before me. You pay for your stuff and get out of here and go handle your kid. When I'm in, I don't care how old the female is. When I'm in society and I'm talking to people, I refer to them as yes ma'am. Even men, yes sir. They can be 15 and 16 years old and I still say that to them. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Just, that's my personification. You know what I mean? And what's so forth. And what happens is when you conduct yourself as such, you understand what I'm saying? People reciprocate the same respect to you. You understand
Case
what I'm
in
Yeah.
point.
saying? And and
That's
and
three
and and
people. Go
and
ahead.
and I'm not going to be the one that perpetuate the bullshit stereotypes that this society has for our people. I'm not going to be the one out there conducting myself like an ass and all those types of things, because even though I was very much a willing participant in the gang banging, in the gang banging bullshit back in the days, at the same time, but my mother and my father and my grandparent, my grandfather and my grandmother also taught me how to be a human being and how to be a man. You did what
Exactly.
I'm saying? And
Exactly.
that's
Mhm.
and those are the same values and teachings that I taught my 2 daughters and my son, my brother. You did what I'm saying, and I lead by example.
Oh no,
Right.
well, I was just gonna mention that there's three people on this internet, and one of them's not here right now, but two of them are, and that's Big Deb and Ballgame. I've been to their house. They've been to my house. We had nothing but the most respect for one another while attending each other's households. And I seen that in Ball, I seen that in Deb, and when I went to the house, I gave them the same thing. You understand? And Bright Dog is the other one. You three guys, the only ones that ever been to my house, and there's a reason for that. You know, I don't have to get into the whys and all that, but there's reasons for that. Because
you know what? Hold on. Now that we got Dev on talking about that, Dev, you know I brought my ass way up to Lancaster to see you, my brother.
Oh, you did? Oh, yeah, I did, huh?
Yeah, I did.
Was
You didn't open that door. I told Melly we should kick the door down and go in. we had to kick. I rode 3 hours up to Lancaster to see my homie, my blood cousin, and that nigga didn't answer the door. So I'm gonna confront you.
I don't even think I was there.
Now that you probably wasn't, but I'm just saying.
Nah.
I was there. I was at your front door, my brother. I pulled up.
Me and Melly, we gonna come. We coming to San Diego. I'm coming with a cold motherfucking drink. And we're gonna sit down there and chop it up. You know what I'm saying?
You gotta bring a bottle of wine for the ball game. Don't bring
we're gonna drink a bottle of wine. I want to get in the car, and I want Ballgame to take us to fine dining restaurant. We're gonna sit back there and just take us around the city, man. Just sightsee, go around the city.
We're gonna do all
when I went there, Ball took me to every area. We went up in the parks. We went up where dudes necessarily didn't like us, but we was there. And they accepted. They didn't say nothing, you know what I mean? But me and Ball was right there amongst them, and just, you know. Then we went to. This is what got me when Ball took me to the graveyard. All the dudes from either West Coast Brims or 40s or and Lincoln Park and Emory and all in different neighborhoods, they're all resting together in one cemetery, bro. Some of them right next to each other. Balls pointed it out. Took me there.
I said these two niggas right here used to try to kill each other. Now
right next to each other.
And now they graves is right next to each other.
That's crazy, but it's reality.
We went to the Green Cat where a lot of the stuff was going down. We went to the Green Cat. We went to the parks over there where the 40s hang out. We went to the 5-9 where Big Country grew up at. Who bought the Brim?
We went to Skyline. We went to Emerald Hills. Yeah. We went to East Dago Mob. We went everywhere. Yeah, you know what I mean?
We're coming out there, man. Because I ain't never been to San Diego.
Mike, when we pulled up on him in the streets, what's his name? Mike?
Who?
We pulled up on one of your homeboys. He was in the streets.
Yeah. That was Big Mike. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we pulled up on Big Mike. He was out there acting the fool, doing what he do. You know, and
I ain't never been
man. You ain't
Emory.
No, I don't think I've ever been to San Diego.
Is that right? You know who else told me they ain't never been to San Diego? Mama Boo Boo told me she said she ain't never been to. Y'all only 2 hours away and y'all ain't never been down here. That's crazy to me.
I always wanted to come too. Vacation down there. I done looked at some nice little restaurants, some nice spots, some nice hotel. I like the water out there, the boats. I just seen it all online.
Everybody want to go to Black's Beach.
Yeah, that's what
Black's Beach.
Yeah.
That Creole, the soul food restaurant out there, Black on. I forgot everybody be talking about out there, San Diego.
It's two. What you thought? Southern Comfort.
Southern Comfort. That's it. Yeah, I wanted to go there. Yeah, let's go. Let's go up in there and sit down and parlay and eat.
Yeah, you'll like Southern Comfort. They get down up in there. You know what I'm saying? You know, so yeah, man. Well, whenever you come down, man, just let me know. I'm gonna be available.
Man, I'm gonna do another field trip out there, man, so we can go eat at Southern Comfort, man.
Yeah. Because I'm taking my month vacation this year, July, August, so we'll come down there then.
All you got to do is come.
Like going to Harrah's and Barona's and a lot of different things you can get into. I mean, whether it's San Diego Zoo and all that different, what is it, SeaWorld and all that other stuff.
Well, there's a lot of things that you can do, but this is one thing that you got to realize about San Diego. San Diego is a city of 1.7 million people, and only 450,000 of us is black.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So when you come down here, and down here there really ain't no ghettos. I think I tried to take Melly to the worstest parts. You dig what I'm saying? But down here, we ain't got no projects and all that type of shit. You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah.
You know.
Chula Vista, that's why they call it Chula Vista, mean beautiful city.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But look, fellas, man, it's been good, man. I appreciate you guys joining me on this podcast. And as we grow and get better, man, we're going to continue to come up with topics like Big Dev. When Ballgame, you come up with a topic, we'll jump on here and talk about it. Big Dev, he's a good friend, but he ain't a gangster.
On the real.
Well, you know, well, for me, but Dev is a good friend, and he's a cold gangster. Much respect.
Okay, right on, man.
You know,
So we'll talk soon, fellas.
Yeah, that. So, you know, much love to the mailroom. Marlena, I love you, baby. And, you know, and much respect, Melly, for always having us on, man. I always enjoy myself on these platforms. Much respect.
Man, thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, shout out to the
Shout out to
Ballgame,
Big
man.
Dev.
That's why I hit you. I said,
Where
man,
they
get the
follow you at,
Ballgame
Big
online,
Dev? Tell them where to follow you at.
Big Dev 42. Don't follow me too close behind me though. But yeah, Big Dev 42.
What about Ballgame? Where they follow you at?
They can follow me at Michael with a Y, the Ballgame, Instagram, you dig. And like Big Dev said, don't follow too close. I might start busting.
Shout out to Ballgame and Dev, man. I appreciate you guys. Have a blessed day, man.
Yeah, blessings.
Likewise.
One love.
Shout out to the Mailroom Nation and the Mailroom Goons. I think we got a lot said there. As you know, like I've said, I love these discussions and panel discussions where we come in and just set things aside and set it on the table and get it out there and talk about it. With that being said, I am Professor Melly Mill, Marlena, Monique, Briar, Mike Marks, and everybody that joined us in the chat, Black Warrior Spirit, Nose, and everybody else, man. Appreciate each and every last one of you. But that being said, don't mind me just watching, but go ahead and lock that door.
Scotty Miners, baby. Proof of grind all the time. Music money. Got a dollar sign. Hub City. I'm a street nigga. Streets fuck with me. I'ma keep pushing products till the feds get me. It's guap off top. Diamond Cartier. That nigga wall won't give a bro bitch time of day. They see me climbing. They see me shining. That's hard work. Proof of grinding. New money got me tipping in that 550. Ali, bad man, and I'm so pretty. I got that check with me. That's my hater sprayer. Go big, grind now, nigga, play later. What can I say? I'm addicted to this paper stacking. And I don't talk about it. I just make it happen. Word on the block is that the shit go. Freaks for the low.
Lock the door, because we are gone.